Hey YouTube, I was out here working with a loadmaster, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but in my videos I was having a hard time having the die plate turn. A lot of resistance. So what I did, I'll show you here on a different die plate. I believe that the resistance was coming from the fit on the inside of the die plate. Let me grab another one here. I have the 223, 222 4S in there right now because that's what holds the hammer, since the hammer is based off of a... Now this is the one that works. Let's grab a different one. There's 1S. That's your 357 38 special. I'm going to grab a different one anyway, but one that I don't have as much stuff in. Now this one here needs cleaned anyway. But what I believe that the resistance was down here at the bottom, the part that goes the lowest onto the pin. This one here should be the 308 30-06 number 2. Yeah, 45 ACP, Watt 6, 308, all the ones off the 30-06. Family of case heads. Okay, what I believe, if you look in here, and you guys are not going to be able to see it, but if you take my word for it, it seems like the bottom of this hole I don't know where I can get you, but the farthest down toward the bottom, on the bottom side of the plate, is where it's contacting the pin the hardest. Because if you look now, this is the same die plate. Now it turns realistically. That time there I just pushed a little too hard, but now it turns very much like it should. It might be a little stiff yet. Well, what I did, what I wanted to show you guys, is I took a, and it's still up here. Oh yeah. Took an old swab. You could do anything, I guess. Took an old swab. I think this is a 45 caliber one. What does it say on there? Nothing, just the good old USA. That's what it says there. Took that swab, took a little bit of emery paper. I don't know what grit it is. I'm going to guess by that number it's 120. But I just took a little emery paper. You wouldn't want something super rough, but unless you're running it power, I'm just turning it by hand. But unless you're running it power driven, then you could probably go something finer. maybe get an even nicer finish inside there. And you could always step down in sandpaper, which I might find out I end up doing. But I'll turn it at one spot for a while, and then I'll bring it on a little farther where the swab is pushing it against there a little harder, or whatever you're using to send it in there, to just provide a little backing, and move it back and forth a couple times, and turn it, and then go the other way, and it'll turn harder than when you first go the other way, because all them fibers on the barrel swab are flipping. It's obviously, if you look in there now, it's getting a lot smoother. Oh, that's the angle. Alright, getting a lot smoother, buffing it. I don't know where the GoPro stopped, what footage we're making. Hey YouTube, we're going to work on getting these shell plates that don't fit real well. Try and get them straightened up, working better. Clean them up here a little bit to start, just so the little bit of grit we make while we're sanding them isn't gonna get stuck in that grease. So what I do is I think I said this in the other video, but I don't think I showed it. I have a 45 caliber swab. I don't even know who made it anymore. It's probably this company here, but basically this is a bronze bristle brush. I don't even know what company this is. Pro Shot Products. Anyhow, you could probably use, I'm pretty sure it's 45 caliber. It doesn't say on there. That looks smaller. That's probably 38 caliber. That's probably a 243. Bang, I take that and I put a little emery paper on there. And put it on there and just start spinning it. Excuse the paint on my hands. And then when it feels like it's turning a little easy and I don't hear no grit happening, I'll move it to a different spot on the brush and just keep going. And then I'll switch ends and then switch directions every now and then. You'll feel it'll be grittier again. Okay, I'm gonna hand this over to my shop buddy here. You keep doing what Dad was doing. Alright, so now we polished up the inside of that a little bit. So we're gonna put it on here. Drop it down on, see how it turns, see if we gotta go a little more. I can already tell we got to go more on this one, I believe. Let's get the lock rod loose. See, it just doesn't want to go down like it should, okay? I'm going to try and zoom in when I edit the video here, guys. But if you look, it's not down that square that holds the shell kick out plate in place. Should be sticking well proud of this, and it's not. And even if I run the press here a stroke or two, there, it had a primer. It went down a little more there, but it's still there. It went down the rest of the way, okay? It shouldn't be that hard. Okay, well, let's see how it runs. That one was okay. Oh, no, there we didn't. That one pushed a little hard. That one was nice. A little hard. I don't know what that clicking is. Guess it's the primer catching. Yeah, one of them is a little bit hard, and I found if I just keep buffing that, it'll get a little better and a little better. And you can see how tight they are. You can't hardly get them to come up off. Once you get them up a little bit, then they move okay. And if I would let go of it right now, it would fall right back down there where you can't turn it hardly. I mean, this one here is a lot better than the 223 one was. But it still ain't quite where as smooth as I want it to be. So we'll put our 120 emery paper on our swab here again. Try and pick a new spot. Our emery paper is getting a little bit beat up. But as it gets wore down a little bit, and that keeps us from making big, and I just turn it like this. And then turn it the other way. And keep it nice and lined up in the center. Because I don't want to go too far. I don't want to put it on a drill and go too far. Alright, we're going to give it to my helper here, and he's going to work on that. I believe it's very important to teach our children, the younger people in America, the importance of our gun ownership rights and all that. Very important things, because Lord knows our school systems, our media, and all of that are not teaching our children those things, and how preserving their liberties are what we should do. You know, I'm gonna probably get in trouble here, but there's some bad things happening in our country right now, and anybody that's a gun owner should very very much recognize this, what's going on. And anybody that's watching my videos, I don't think this is going to be a shock to you, what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it. You know, we're in the middle of being taken over, or attempted to be taken over, one step at a time. They're following the communist, Marxist playbook as far as causing dissension between groups in the country. Let's try this here again. See if it got any better. I can usually tell how it falls down. If it falls right down into place. Once it gets lined up. If it's right or not. If I've gone far enough. With the lock bar out, it makes it a little tough for it to go down.
I'm gonna go say hi on Mom's stream real quick. I'll be right back.
Yes, that's turning. So now right there, there's a one that just has a little binding spot. And I know it doesn't seem to make sense that, you know, out of the 5 positions, 4 of them turn fine and the 5th one doesn't. If it was, you would think, oh, if it's that round part, it would do it on every single one, but it doesn't. You know, I go up here and that turns very nicely. I'm not saying it shouldn't turn a little bit easier, but it turns very nicely. That one turns really nice. Usually right after there. See now there, it didn't want to feed the rod out. Now I did clean my lube off the bottom of there, which could be affecting how nice that rod's coming out. But I think that one there we got in pretty decent shape. A little bit of lube in there when we put it together, and that'll probably run really nice. But anyhow, back on what I was saying, you know, it's up to us to teach these values and skills to the younger people in our families, in our country, because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to teach our children how valuable and how much a necessity. See right there, look, that thing just fell right back down on there. Whoop, just, you know, and then it like gets stuck. It don't want to come off. But that one there, I think that's as far as I'm going to take that one right now. That's my 357 38 special one. Now this one here, 9mm Luger, 40 Smith & Wesson, 38 Super, etc. I mean, I'm showing off my wonderful reading skills there. You guys probably read that before I got done saying it. That one there works fine. Not a problem. Yeah, this one here is that one. The 38 one came with the press. So I don't have a little holder for it. But we'll put this one on. Alright, it's got a little bit of light lube on it. Not tons, but we'll put this one on and we'll see how it turns. And then we'll do our little buffing, sanding action. Okay, it doesn't want to go down because the rod's in and it's locking it. The biggest way for me to tell is to put that on. And just sitting there, it should want to grab that square spline. It does, but not like I think it should.
I need to ask you something.
See how hard that turned right there? GoPro, stop recording. So we had a tight spot there still with that one. So we're gonna do a little scuffing here. You guys probably can't see it where I was holding it. I'm going to spin that on there. Kind of buff the inside a little bit. I don't really think we're changing the size too much, but we probably are a little bit. And we'll put it on here again. Now first, we're going to pick that primer off of that post so we don't lose that. But anyhow, as I was saying, we got to teach our youth and our other family members and all of that. We got to teach the value of what this country's based on, because they're not gonna. They want to program it out. It's just like, I don't care what anybody says, it's just like the whole 22 long rifle being difficult to get ammunition and the price going through the roof. The price is going through the roof because of a couple things, I think. People trying to make an insane profit. What a brick of 22s used to cost and what it costs now is absolutely absurd. Yeah, it's still too tight. That one there turned alright. There, we didn't get out quite far enough. See how tight that was? That wasn't bad. That was nice. And you can almost always tell when it's going to be tight to turn, because the turning rod, the pusher, comes out harder. It doesn't, I understand mechanical things pretty decently, so that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever as to far as what I am sanding, polishing, changing the size of. All I can tell you is it's making a difference on my plates. So if you're having a similar issue, this might be something you want to try. A lot of people would just say, well, I paid money for these plates, I'm sending them back to Lee. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. But that ain't how I'm built. I don't want to be sending stuff back and this, that, and everything, and back and forth talking to people trying to explain what's wrong and this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, who knows? You might reach out to Lee and they go, yep, we know we had a problem. We'll send you a new plate. And it might be as simple as that. But I never found life to be that simple. Now I will say I have contacted Lee on some other subjects, specifically load data for the hammer in their newest book, and they got back to me the next day. A woman sent me an email from their customer service, I'm imagining, about the subject, and they said that, you know, Hydrogen has some data up, this, that, and that. They mentioned all the other places, this, that, and everything. But what I didn't understand is, and I like Lee, don't get me wrong, but this is revised in 2021. I don't know if you can see that down there, but I will pick it up. And I like this book. Revised in 2021. This cartridge has been out since, I believe, 2017. I just find it absurd that it's not in your book yet. But Hornady ain't no better. Right there's the brand new 11th edition Hornady reload manual up there on the shelf. It ain't in there. I have the app, paying for the service to have the most current reloads from Hornady out of that book. It's not on there either for the 300 hammer. Hydrogen, I know I probably don't say that right. Their little reload manual that's kind of like a magazine. It's in there. It's in there. Yeah, I just don't quite. And maybe I'm not addressing the problem that's going on at all. Maybe I'm just polishing up another area that is reducing resistance in another area that's making where this resistance is actually coming from less noticeable. That could be. But you know what? It's solving my problem, in my opinion. And it might solve you guys' problem too. That's why I'm putting it out here. I love this press. I do. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love all my Lee products. I'm just a regular guy working a normal job, trying to get by, take care of my family, and all of that, just like everybody else. So I don't necessarily always have the money to spend on some of the more expensive presses and reloading equipment that's out there. Not that I wouldn't want to try some of that stuff that's out there. I absolutely would, you know. Don't get me wrong. I've certainly looked at some other presses out there at times in my life and went, man, that would be nice. I don't want to bring that bar out, and that one pushed a little harder. Not as hard as it was earlier. Man, I don't want to bring that bar out again. And it's staying down. I think we're in a better place there now than where we were. I think you guys would agree. It's definitely turning nicer. But yeah, like I said, I've looked at Dillon equipment and went, ooh boy, that's nice, you know. But what that costs compared to Lee equipment, one press, and that was the number 2L shell plate, 45 ACP, 06, 308, so on and so forth. All that family of case head. And like I said, I didn't lube any of these up as I would normally do. But anyhow, back on subject. We'll put her back together here. For hammers. I just wanted to work on a little bit of stuff there. But just, you know, they sit there and I saw a thing on Facebook where somebody somewhere, I don't believe it was the school district that I'm in, that turn, I might have that a little tight, but anyhow. At the school district that I'm in, I don't think it was that school district, but if it is, I'm gonna lose my mind. I guess they sent a letter home to about if you want your kid to be exempt from saying the Pledge of Allegiance. If there's any time in this country where we need to have loyalty and patriotism, is now. And that there's another perfect example of them trying to program how great this country can be. It's had its lows, don't get me wrong. But program out and not teach our kids how great this country can be when we all act like Americans. And I'm not saying we all have to think alike. That's the whole point of this country. If you don't want to own a gun and you don't like guns, then don't own one. But don't tell me I can't. Don't tell me that I can't teach my children to shoot and teach my children to defend themselves, teach my children to hunt, teach my children how to make a fire with a bow rig or survive in a situation where they're in the wilderness or whatever. There's people, yeah, right there. Come and take them. I don't understand. Camera trouble, sorry. That God has instilled in every single one of us. The Constitution protects us. The Constitution is not there to control man or Americans. It's there to control the American government for being oppressive. It was written in a time where we were just deciding that we didn't want to live under the oppressive government that we had in place. Like I was